According to our next guest, AI is no longer a futuristic solution for large enterprises. It's a practical tool that's affordable for wider company use. Piers Linney joins us now, the CEO of Implement AI. Piers, one of the big conversations I was having last week at Mobile World Congress was about the impact of Chinese technology that has been coming thick and fast. A DeepSeek first at the start of this year. We're digesting just in recent days the Alibaba tool as well. But to me, these could be disruptors, and I tried to pitch that to Brett in the conversation, but he's still of the position that the US will be a preeminent player in AI with this very expensive technology that's been built out. But I don't necessarily agree. I already saw US technology companies trying out DeepSeek, and while it might be a bit buggy at this stage, they're still trying to use cheaper technology. So where does that leave us?
So I think that the people forget that this really is it's an exponential curve. I think Dario Amodeo said this, Anthropic, that these are points on that curve. So people shouldn't get lost really on where the technology is going. It will get better, it'll get cheaper, it'll get faster. I think that I agree with you actually. I think that the genie's out of the bottle, and eventually you won't have one nation state in control of this technology. That's probably a bad thing anyway. So I think that the key now is really not about, you saw the new one, Manus, this sort of it's an AI that can do a million things at once, but it's not really about the technology now and the frontier. It's about how do you put it to work.
When you talk about how you put it to work and how quickly you put it to work, there's been a dominant threat all along about jobs and the displacement of people. And what we've seen through this technology at a time when we've just rolled off the back of a very expensive environment for talent, where does automation come into the mix? Because I got to say, last week I saw a ton of robots as well. While they're very heavy underfoot, it's the combination and convergence of technologies that makes a difference. So do you see automation coming soon, and will that be replacing workers?
So my day job now is AI agents. So I'm at a tech show in London this week talking about this, and what people don't quite understand is that, and I see this where I'm mapping workflows with the technology, and the hair stand up my arm some days in terms of I can see where this is going. So the AI agent is going to transform work. Any work behind a computer is going to be automated over time. And robotics, what we're seeing now is the hardware is now being connected with the software. You can't quite tell it yet to go and do something, but that's coming. And once they connect those dots with vision, can navigate our built environment, the hardware, I mean, I can't do a backflip, okay? But
neither can I.
I can't do parkour, okay? And this technology can. And once they connect those dots, you're going to see cognitive work, I will say, is going to go to zero, and then you'll see physical work as well. The point though is, this will take time. Even if you solved AGI today, artificial general intelligence, it's probably 5 years for it to be disseminated across the economy. So the point is, whether you're an individual, an organization, or a nation state, my mantra now really is, how do you put this to work? How do you optimize your costs, increase growth? And what we see from our clients at Implement AI is, it's not so much getting rid of people, it's about how do I grow faster? How do I augment my team so that my human resource can go and do things that add value and are actually more meaningful? Where's the talent of tomorrow going to go? To a job where the things they hate doing, which we all have things in our job we don't want to do, are automated? Or somewhere where the things they don't like doing, the mundane, the repetitive, has been automated. So that's where talent's going to go.
Let me just pick up on that. I would like to understand what kind of talent, because I was actually reading this research over the weekend from the European Central Bank, and they have evidence that it's the high-skilled jobs that will disappear or at least diminish in terms of participation in the labor market. Do you have that evidence as well?
Yeah. So I've got an accounting degree, I've been a lawyer, I'm a qualified lawyer, I was a banker at Credit Suisse, a hedge fund, I was on the board of the government bank. If you are earning, 200 to 500 to £1 million or dollars a year, you have an enormous bullseye on your back, okay? It's not the admin assistant, it's not your secretary, it's expensive knowledge work, and that's where you're going to see, I think, the biggest impact. And that, in an exponential, I think Sam Altman said this, the past always looks flat, you can't see any change, the future always looks vertical. And that's what we're struggling with, is that we're trying to extrapolate the future, an exponential one, from a linear path and not connecting the two.
Can I just add on to that? The creative industries as well. Photographers, what is the future of photography when we've got all the technology in our device, and down the track we're going to have the hardware capabilities of taking photography? Artists' impressions. I mean, I've seen AI artists as well, and some people can't tell the difference between the two. So the creative field, doesn't that get disrupted too?
So it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's knowledge work, creative work, and eventually physical work. I see it as a sort of pyramid of value, and it's been filled, industrial revolutions, but the pyramid got bigger, so it was great. This time it isn't, so it's been filled. So we, humans, human resource, we have to migrate to the top and add more value. And it's the soft skills, it's the EQ, not the IQ. IQ, any work at a computer is going to be commoditized and productized, and it's going to decrease in value and cost over time.
You're a businessman. Tell us, where do you think the next business opportunity could be in AI? What part of AI?
So that's what I'm trying to do. It's AI. I think AI agents. You heard the chap from the chairman of OpenAI is there. But what is an agent? And I think the misconception, I think, is it's a lot of overselling because of all this noise about the Chinese tech. Okay, the missing story on DeepSeek, for example, was not the speed of it really. It was the fact that the cost of it is diminishing very, very quickly. So AI agents, and then I think robotics, but the opportunity is, again, I'll go back to, not the technology, the capability, it's the implementation.
That was what Brett Taylor was telling me, that it is going to be about AI agents, very specific agents in a field. And I think what I saw last week from Deutsche Telekom, just explaining how this gets into the consumer models as well, that you've got an agent. To me, I was seeing something that was having an expert on device that you carry around the whole time. So you think about all the things we just don't know answers to in the house, everyday life. We can ask an agent to help us out. And it does disrupt all of those individual expert fields. And you think about plumbing, you think about electricity in the house, you think about gardening, things that you hire someone. We've paid a lot for services in recent years to get somebody out to come and fix something. We've got an agent in future that's going to be able to tell us what products to order, how to fix something.
Yeah, so you need a longer show. But the internet's going away. You'll have an agent that understands everything you want, your wants, your needs, your heartbeat, your mood, and that will go and talk to other agents that are selling things instantaneously and get the deal done. You won't go and surf or browse the internet. So agents will change our world, first cognitive, and then physical.
I'm sorry to interrupt on that, but it's limited then the information that you get. Right now, for instance, if you are using the internet, you can browse what sort of tools you need for your garden, for instance. If you just have one agent giving you the one answer, then there's no choice, basically.
So shopping for your barbecue you want for the weekend becomes, almost in perfect markets, it's almost like an algorithm hedge fund trade. That's where it's going.
Can I ask you about a bigger paradigm shift? And something that I thought for many months is that if you've got all of this convergence of technology, it changes the notion of making product in emerging markets where the logistics and the labor costs are lower. I wonder, when we now talk about tariffs in the United States, bringing about steel and aluminium, some of these heavy manufacturing industries, then in fact it is the right move, and you might see it in Europe too, because if you can make something using AI, robots at home for a much cheaper price, why would you make it an emerging market?
So that was the missing story, I think, on DeepSeek, is that you have a lot of economies where there's cheaper labor, you can call it that, and at the moment they're still competitive actually with some AI agents in terms of getting work done. But as the cost falls, you're going to see that these low cost labor markets, which is their competitive advantage, that goes away as well.
I'd like to understand, I think you're going to have a meeting with the UK government on this tech adoption review. What I would like to understand from your perspective is what would you like to see from a government point of view at this stage?
So I think that organisations, they want to stop focusing on the news flow because it's tiring, and focus on how do you take this technology and implement it in our business, my business, today. What workflow, what process can I automate to free up my human resource, at the moment at least, to go and do other more meaningful things. And I think the difference is people need to see use cases, real world use cases, not just training about how to prompt engineer.
Right. We appreciate your time today. I wish we had more time to discuss the topic. Piers, Linney, thank you for your time, CEO of Implement AI.